annual reorganization meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order, starting with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So we have a chair. I will conduct the meeting under the second-class township code. At this point, on the agenda, we have resignation of Supervisor Kelly Slinger. I think we need to accept that first so we know who is on the board acting for all other positions. Is there a motion to accept Kelly Slinger's resignation?
I move that we accept Kelly Slinger's resignation from the Board of Supervisors.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, first order of business is to elect the chair of the Board of Supervisors to conduct meetings in 2026. I will open the floor for nominations for chair.
I nominate Grant Hilfiger as chair.
I'll second.
All right,
There's
been a nomination for Grant.
there's a hand up in the audience. Do we have discussion?
It's just a question. Could you introduce yourself? I'm new here and I don't know who you are.
Oh, I'm sorry. Todd Weitzman, the township solicitor.
Oh,
And I
okay.
apologize for not being there in person.
No, you don't have to apologize. Thank you.
Sure, I apologize for that. Okay, so there's a motion, or there's a nomination and a second. Are there any other nominations for chair? All right, hearing no further nominations, I'll close the nominations. We can now vote for chair. All those in favor of electing Grant Hilfiger as chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, by vote, Grant Hilfiger is elected chair, and I will turn the meeting over to him to conduct the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. Thank you guys also. I look forward to this position, and I appreciate you guys coming out today. Thank you very much. So I guess we're going to move right along to electing a vice chairman, and I'm going to move to make a motion that we elect Patty O'Keefe.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move to pass that motion. Next up, appointing secretary. I move to make a motion to appoint Daryl Spiker.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I move to make a motion to appoint Assistant Secretary Pam. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up is I move to make a motion to appoint Administrative and Operations Director Pam Gardsey at a recommended rate of $37.13 an hour. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Abstain.
Did you get that, Nicole? She abstained. All right, just- Next up, I move to make a motion to appoint Assistant Treasurer to take over an event that injury, serious illness, or death prevents Treasurer from performing their duties. I make a motion that Daryl Spiker, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Sustained.
I make a motion to appoint Maintenance Superintendent Jim Cease.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, I make a motion to appoint Assistant Maintenance Superintendent Shane Schratt.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion, we appoint Chief Administrative Officer of Non-Uniform Pension Plan administered by Equitable and Conrad Siegel. Make a motion to appoint Patty O'Keefe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I guess I abstain.
I guess. I didn't know how that went, so
Yeah.
that seems like the trend. I make a motion to reappoint Township Engineer Deanna Schmoyer at a rate of $105 per hour.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh. I make a motion to reappoint alternate Township Engineer Hanover Engineering as per 2026 fee schedule.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to reappoint bookkeeper Claudia Shoesmith Fox at a rate of $1,025 per month with additional work billed at $60 per hour.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to appoint sewage enforcement officer Zach Karowski at engineering.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to reappoint alternate sewage enforcement officer when the sewage officer has a conflict of interest or is absent. Steve Gitch at a part-time rate of $28.66 per hour and $35 for inspection and mileage for vehicle use at the International Revenue mileage rate.
I would like to suggest reappointing Joe Reinhardt as Assistant SEO, since this is only when there's a conflict with Zach from Odd Engineering, and being that Gerald knows the properties and knows all of the systems, I think it makes better sense for her to have that role if Zach has questions.
So you're making a second motion to oversee my first motion. Am I correct?
Yes.
Is she qualified?
She was our SEO for 30 years.
So can I back up to my motion
So-
and see if there's a second and then discussion and then go
Sure.
into your
That's
motion?
what we have to
Pam?
do, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so back to my motion. Todd, do I have to repeat it?
Well, I think your motion was to appoint Steve Gitch.
Correct. So do I have a second for that? Discussion?
Yeah.
That would be my discussion.
Well, I think we haven't, as far as I know, we haven't had to use him at all. So this is a position that generally is in place of an absence or not being able to do a specific inspection. So I guess it makes sense to use Gerald since she's familiar. Yes.
Can we get a little history on this guy you're talking about, Grant?
So he's a sewage enforcement officer. I believe he was appointed last year when Gerald retired as our alternate.
No, he was made alternate last year at reorganization because Gerald was still the SEO.
Okay,
I
so,
believe he does work in Price. We've never had to use him. We've never called in the alternate SEO, to my knowledge. But I think if we have to, it's because if Zach has a conflict or has questions, Gerald would be the most knowledgeable.
Wait, so he was the alternate?
Steve Gitch was the alternate
Last
last
year.
year while Gerald was SEO. Gerald
Then why
retired
change-
in
then
April.
Why change it? Yeah, I second your motion.
I wished it worked that way. Carol,
Oh, I didn't.
Gerald, wasn't that, we had the problem that she gave the $20,000 building permit?
I don't know.
Yeah,
So I would
she's
like
out
to,
of control.
so I would like to stick with it. My motion did not pass, so we're gonna go back to Pam's motion. Is there a second for that?
So this, again, is a motion to appoint Joe Reinhardt as alternate SEO in the event of a conflict with Zach from Ott Engineering.
Wait,
So to be clear, we have two motions going. My motion is to appoint Steve Gitch, and Pam's motion is to appoint Gerald Reinhardt. Does anybody second either?
I second the first, and I thought we were still in
I'm,
discussion.
I'm sorry, ma'am. It's a second on the board.
Wait a minute. At what rate would we be paying Gerald?
Grant, there's a lot of crosstalk here. You need to address the motions in the order that they were presented.
Okay,
You have
so-
a motion first with Steve Gitch. Was there a second?
Do we have a second on my motion with Steve Gitch and complete discussion? Because we have his hourly rate and his $35 for inspections.
So I second Grant's motion to appoint Steve.
Thank you. All in favor?
Well, I'd just
Or
like to have
discussion.
a
Yep,
little
sorry.
discussion. One of the reasons that Steve was appointed was because at the time Gerald was also the CEO,
The SEO.
the SEO officer, so we appointed somebody else because we couldn't appoint her to be the second for herself. And then when she retired, that's why it was considered that she could be an alternate.
Okay, so my motion has Steve Glitch. I have a second. Do we have discussion? Do you have discussion on that, Pam?
I spoke my piece.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
So we're at 2 for, 2 opposed, motion dies. On to Pam's motion of appointing Gerald Reinhardt at a rate, do we know her rate?
It would be that same rate.
At $28.66 per hour, 35 for inspections, that's Pam's motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
So my discussion will be, she retired as our sewage enforcement officer. I wouldn't think that she would want to come back and be alternate. Did she submit a letter of interest?
No,
Or a
she just,
contract?
she just spoke to me about it.
Okay, so I'm opposed, all in favor?
We are.
So 2-2, motion dies. I think it goes to our vacancy board or next, because the motion doesn't pass, so. Todd, correct me if I'm wrong,
The vacancy board isn't for that
Okay.
position. Grant, I would just leave the position vacant for the time being.
sounds good.
There's really no urgency in having that position filled right now, and maybe there can be another process.
Sounds good.
Find uses to fill it later. But
Okay.
it's not a critical role, and last year I don't even think it was used.
It was.
Correct, I appreciate that. Nicole, do you have all that?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, I'm gonna make a motion to appoint zoning officer Nicole Irvin at a rate of $22.66 per hour and mileage for vehicle used at the International Internal Revenue mileage rate, sorry, I'm a little off. Do I have a second? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to make a motion to reappoint alternate zoning officer when the zoning officer has conflict of interest or is absent. That is a vacancy in the position. I believe it was Rich first, so we're moving on from that also. Same thing with,
Is that just gonna remain vacant?
yeah, we have no applicants or, well, we have applicants, we haven't made a decision yet. And the same.
It's gonna be deferred for future action.
Correct. So make a motion to defer for future action. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So this one, I'm gonna make a motion to defer building code enforcement officer appointment for future action also.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Is there an acting building code enforcement officer?
So Rich Furs resigned as of the 31st. He's taken care of everything that he has dealt with up until that point. As of right now, we do not. We have some applications that we've been interviewing and reaching out to, and then we've had some withdrawals of those. So we're kind of in a working process on that. Ralph?
So what happens if I put an application in today for a building? You know?
Good question.
I mean, I'm just,
No.
I'm not trying to be, I'm just,
So it's my understanding that we have 30 days to respond to any building permits, and within that 30 days, I hope we appoint somebody to take the position. I think that's our goal here as the board.
and so any application that comes in from now until the equipment is on hold, basically.
I would say until we have somebody under contract, but I promise you, and I'll do everything I can to stick within our 30-day period that we have to issue a building permit.
Okay.
Carla?
Christina Esposito said they can't chat on that Zoom thing. They can't make comments.
The comments are, at the end, she can raise her hand to make a public comment, right?
I feel if the public can make comments here, I'd like for them to be able to make comments on Zoom.
Why wouldn't they do?
They can.
They can.
Okay.
There's a feature on Zoom where they can raise their hand, but the typing chat is disabled.
Why is that?
Well, do they understand that they can raise their hand? Is there an instruction that's given to them when they enter the Zoom? Because
Of course not.
when I enter the Zoom, I have to have an instruction on how to make comments.
So I'd like, not trying to be rude, I'd like to keep the meeting going, but I would like to enable a typing chat if it is a feature on Zoom, because I also feel.
It is definitely a feature on Zoom, Grant, and it's always been made available before.
Okay,
My issue with the hand raising, which I know it's there, is it's not always seen.
understood.
And I don't like to speak over somebody to make sure my voice is heard, so I am requesting as a community member and a taxpayer that all features of this Zoom be enabled for all community members, please.
I'm gonna,
Second that, Nicole Crossman.
I'm gonna agree with that. I don't know if we have to do some changes in a supervisor's meeting. I'm not sure this is, but if I do have any,
Rule to unmute the chat. Very simple for her to do it. She knows how to do it because she has done it before.
okay, so I'm gonna hold up for a minute. If I, as the chairman, can say, let them type questions in, I'll field their questions as they come in if you bring my attention to them. I feel like they should have a fair say as everybody else in front of us. That's why we brought Zoom on. So I would like to move forward. I don't know if the motion was carried to move past leaving the vacancy for the building code officer. Nicole, do you know if we passed that one or?
It was deferred for future action.
Okay, so do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. I would,
Question.
oops, sorry.
Oh, am I supposed to wait till the end? I'm sorry.
No. Okay,
Oh, well, she just told me I'm supposed to wait till the end, so I will.
okay. If you don't mind, I would just like to get through some of this. I appreciate that. I would like to make a motion to reappoint recording secretary for the Supervisors and Planning Commission, Nicole Irvin, at normal hourly rate.
I'll second that.
Do we have discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll let somebody else take over this one.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Grant Hilfiger as right to know officer. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. I would move to make a motion to appoint Assistant Right to Know Officer Nicole Irvin.
I'll
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I move to make a motion to acknowledge and discuss the reappointment of Grant Ryder at a recommended rate of $10,000 a year and take no action at this time. Do I have a second? Discussion? So my discussion on this matter is I feel we need a job description with expectations set for the job of Grant Ryder, a clear line of time division between other job titles and supervisor duties, and/or supervisor duties. That's
All right, I'll second your motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
I'll abstain.
I'll vote aye.
Motion moved. I'd like to move a motion to appoint Emergency Management Coordinator Don Slater. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I move to make a motion to appoint Assistant Emergency Management Coordinator Andrew Price.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I move to reappoint Vacancy Board Andrew, there's a D in this one. Is it the same Andrew Price or
Yes.
Andrew D. Price?
I don't know why there's a D, I don't know.
Okay, Andrew Price. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to appoint the current Township Board of Auditors as listed. Karen Herring, term expires the first Monday of 2027. Nathan Covington, term expires the first Monday of 2030. Christine Macaluso, term expires the first Monday of 2028. I don't think that's a voting on, they're voted on already. So,
That's not what's on this paper. It goes to 6, which is volunteer board of appointment, planning commission.
so I think I read this wrong. I apologize because they were actually elected
They're
officials.
elected, we don't
So-
vote on them.
We don't vote on them, so I made the motion by mistake. But that's the Board of Auditors that were elected. I'm not sure we make action on that.
No, there's no action.
Line item under 5 still? That's the last one under 5?
Grant, that does not require action.
Okay, so I guess that's just an FYI on our template. Excellent, so I'm gonna move on. Next is Planning Commission. I'm gonna make a motion to appoint or reappoint the volunteer Planning Commission board members for 2026. Do I have to do each one individually? Or just leave the continuing members and do Patty?
You just do.
I
I
think
think
the only one
just
that's up
reappoint.
for appointment is Patty, but the other ones you can acknowledge.
Sounds great. So I make a motion to reappoint for a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2030, Patty O'Keefe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
So the continuing members of the Planning Commission are Brick Linder, his term expires December 31st, 2027. William Pipolo Jr., term expires December 31st, 2027. Ralph Magliola, term expires December 31st, 2027. Andrew Price, term expires December 31st, 2028. And Peter Pipolo is an alternate. So next is a zoning hearing board. I move to make a motion to reappoint as a voting member for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2028, Ralph Fish Jr. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Is that for the planning commission?
That's the zoning hearing board. And the other continuing voting members are Richard Price Jr. His term expires December 31st, 2026. And Lori Guthrie, and her term expires December 31st, 2027. Next up is to make a motion to reappoint alternate zoning board member Rick Scridato. I don't have a term on that. Is it yearly? Annual?
I think that is appointed, that alternate is appointed annually.
Annual.
Grant, I'm not certain.
So I'd like to appoint Rick Scridato.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. This is for the Pocono Area Recreation Committee. I would move to make a motion to reappoint Barrett Township Representative Charlene Berry for one more year. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So next is the EAC, the Environmental Advisory Council. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Daryl Spiker with a term ending January 1st, 2029. They're 3-year terms. Sally Duffy. Do I have to make a motion for each of them, or can I lump them together?
We're only reappointing the first two.
I don't.
Yeah.
You can do them together.
The next would be Sally Duffy with a term expiring January 1st, 2029. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
The next two are existing terms that are going to continue. It's Jennifer Mitterder and Patty O'Keefe, and both of their terms are expiring January 1st, 2027.
And you'll note that there's a vacancy for the EAC, so if anybody knows anybody that would be interested in joining, let us know, and we will give you all the details. It's usually an every other month meeting, and we try to advise the township on environmental issues as they come up, like we looked at a lot of the data center ordinance.
Thank you, Patty. Next up is Uniform Construction Code Appeals Board. I would like a motion to reappoint to a one-year term ending December 31st, 2026. The following members: David Price, Samuel Prinda, Vincent Piacente, and Chad Gray. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We also have a vacancy on that board. If anybody's interested, please send a letter. Property Maintenance Appeal Board. I make a motion to reappoint to a one-year term ending December 31st, 2026, David Price, Samuel Prinda, Vincent Piacente, and Chad Gray. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. Next up is the Architectural Review Committee. I move to make a motion to appoint to a one-year term ending December 31st, 2026. William Hopkins, Brick Linder, Fran Durst, Ralph Magliola, Carl Weiler, Annie Grill, and Jeff Rutter. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion moved. Next up is the High Acre Park Committee members. I make a motion to reappoint to a one-year term ending December 31st, 2026, the following member: Angela Jones Price, Blake Reinhardt, Dina Reinhardt, Harry Ladley Jr., Kelsey Bartholomew, Gerald Reinhardt, Lucas Donlin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion moved. The next topic is appointment or reappoint departmental administrators, representatives, or liaisons for year 2026. Appoint or reappoint the following supervisors responsible for the following departments. I have a struggle with the first one, so I'll let somebody make a motion.
I move we appoint Patty O'Keefe, Administrative Offices Liaison.
I'll second.
Discussion. I know we had discussion in executive session, and I also felt this way, that I don't feel Patty is the person for that position. I feel I am, but that's my only discussion. If no one's going to make a motion, all in favor?
Aye.
I am not, Nicole. Motion moved.
And I'll abstain.
And it's
Wait.
not moved.
Wait, does it move?
It didn't move if she abstained.
Yeah. So Todd,
So,
that doesn't
does she
move.
vote then?
Or does Patty vote for herself?
It's hard for me to hear the talk on that.
Okay, so-
Roll call vote.
So, Daryl, you made the
There
motion.
was a motion, I made a motion to appoint Patty O'Keefe the liaison with the office, administrative office. It was seconded by Pam. Pam and I voted in favor, Patty abstained, Grant voted no.
Couldn't Pam abstain as well?
Yeah.
That's not a sufficient number of votes to carry the day. It would have to be 3, so.
So then I should vote yes?
Vote for yourself.
Well,
I mean, I can't tell Patty whether she should vote or not, but I don't know that, is it a paid position?
no.
No.
I don't know then what the.
I mean, supervisors are paid, but is it just for the meeting?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
for the meetings.
Okay. I'll let you guys take it from here.
I have a question.
Well, we have a quorum.
Go ahead. If you're voting, we have a quorum. If you're abstaining, we're 2-2. Right?
2 for, 1 against.
2 for, 1 against, 1 abstained. So 2 for,
Okay, well then,
Affirmative vote.
then I will vote yes.
we do have a question here. Kelly?
I just have a question so if it's for the offices, does Pam technically have to abstain because she is part of the offices? Or no,
Todd, should I
because she's
abstain
a
as well?
supervisor? I'm just curious.
I feel that Pam would have to abstain because she's essentially choosing her own boss.
That's right.
So that's what I was just curious.
Mark,
Potentially table this, like table a few other things until that seat right there has somebody sitting in it.
I feel that's the direction we're headed.
Yeah.
There's a question, Krista has a question, Krista Coolidge.
Krista? I think she's
She's
muted.
muted.
Yeah.
I think she can unmute herself.
I'm here. What do you think? It's a conflict of interest.
I kind of think we're gonna collect them.
Oh.
Guys, we'll collect the questions.
If you just unmuted everybody.
And,
Yeah,
up on the little coffee table.
Jill, you're,
Hold on, guys.
Jill.
Grant, while they figure that out, what are the qualifications that you and Patty have for that position?
I could let Patty say her qualifications. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Wait,
What
before
is the
that,
job?
could Daryl say, this is what the job is, and then you two say why you think.
What are the requirements?
So I'm going to take this back over a little bit. So the job is simply the supervisor that oversees the offices. So it would be the township offices there. So it would be the day-to-day operations, the enforcements, if there's any employee handbook violations, stuff like that. And then they bring it back to the board of supervisors. So essentially, they are our representative in the office to make sure this handbook gets followed, make sure jobs are getting done, and report back to the board, good or bad. So that is the job description. If we're simply saying what your qualifications are, Patty, I'll let you explain yourself.
Okay, well, I think that I would be able to do this job. I've worked with people and students for over 40 years. I know how to deal with people. I know how to deal with conflict. If there's something that comes up in the office and either the office employees are concerned about changes, I could come back to the board and explain them. I'm in the office quite often because I like to review everything that we do. And I think that the years of experience I have dealing with the public, I've been a supervisor for 8, 10, 12 years at different times. And so I know how the township generally is run. What's happening here is a lot more than we've ever had before. And I think I've been in on what we've been doing to try to make this building work and make it so that everybody can get things done. Carla?
I'm just,
I'm still
I
going to speak as
feel
well.
that office needs new blood. Like, you're in it all the time, and it wasn't your responsibility to oversee things, but things go on in that office that need to change, and using the same old people is not gonna make the change that we need.
Okay, well, one of the things is Kelly was the person that was the liaison with the office, and we spoke about things, you know, I'm not sure that,
So,
Listen, Kelly did
I'm
a
not
great job.
able to do a new role.
so I'm gonna kind of go back to, I'm gonna take some comments. I'm gonna let Krista talk, but then I'm gonna say my qualifications. And then, we're gonna go from there, because essentially, if we can't move it, we might as well just keep going. So Ralph, if you could hold 1 second, I'm gonna let Krista talk. She was on Zoom, and then I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna lose service in a minute. Number one, the chat is still unmuted and people can't type. Number two, based on the right to knows that came up with Patty and Pam's communications regarding the high harvest issue, I absolutely don't think that Patty should be the person that Pam reports to. Without going into the details of that, they are available, and anybody who would like to see them, you can ask me for them. I'm pretty sure I've shown Grant them. And there didn't seem to be any overarching authority or reining in or trying to get somebody on the right path who was perhaps going down a path that they shouldn't have, or that wouldn't have been in the best interest for the township. So I think somebody that's a little bit more authoritative should be in that position. There's also a significant number of issues that are popping up with the administrative assistant, Janine Soko, and we're going to need a strong authority figure to handle those issues as they arise.
Okay, thank you, Krista. Ralph?
I just want to state, for all the years when I was chairman always oversaw the office. It's an everyday job. It's not showing up sometimes. You have to be there every day.
Yep.
It's
Okay,
not an easy job,
understood.
believe me.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to why I think I'm qualified and why I
Okay,
think.
before you do that, can I just say one thing? The role of chairman of a supervisors is to run the meetings. And they have no other authority any more than anybody else on the board has. So even though perhaps in the past, the person who was the chairman also wanted to undertake being in the office more, it's not part of the job description of supervisor, chairperson, to be in charge of everything. It's just to run the meetings.
There you go.
That's fine.
All right, hang on. So I'm going to just say my 2 cents. So the reason why I think I should be in front of the office is exactly kind of as Ralph explained. As chairman, I feel if I'm going to run these meetings, I absolutely need to be every day in this office to bring information to you guys consistently, transparently, and explain to you guys. So as chairman, I think it's essential to oversee the office. Also, as the right to know officer, by default, I'm going to be in that office working with Nicole every day. So I'm going to be there anyway. On top of that, Patty said she thinks she could do a good job overseeing the office. I know I can do a good job overseeing the office. I oversee 20 to 40 employees every single day. Every day is conflict management, structure, reward management. So I know I can move this office to the next level if I oversee it, and I can bring information very, very regularly back to the supervisors, as I have since December 22nd, with an abundant amount of ideas and emails that I've shared with the board and community members. I absolutely think I should be in charge of the office with my experience of 20 years growing my own business. Carla.
If the board could just recognize what the people want, and if you truly care about the community, nothing against you personally, Patty, it's just, we feel Grant would be the better person for this position. So if you do care about your community, listen to us.
And
Be
the
fair.
reason we're all showing up every meeting.
Thank you, guys. Oh.
Also, there been how many times that you can't find blueprints, you can't find paperwork, you can't find this or that.
I just took pictures of all that this morning.
Office needs to be run a little more formally.
All right, so I think we're at, what, you made a motion for Patty. We decided who was voting, who wasn't. Let's get back on task. I don't know if anybody seconded it. All in favor? I just need a memory recollection.
Well, I would still recommend that we table it until we have our this next seat filled, just because if I vote, then she has to abstain, he has to abstain, and there we go. So, let's move the meeting forward.
Someone would be waiting to have this entire meeting until we have another supervisor.
Well, you can't do that.
No, by law, we have to have it now.
So, I'll second to table, and make no action. Discussion? You know what, I am gonna discuss this. This is absolutely irresponsible of us, because now we have no one overseeing this office until we appoint somebody, which will have 45 days from either when Kelly was sworn in or from today. So if we take our time with that, which I'm gonna highly encourage, now we have nobody overseeing the office. Shame on us.
Okay, but I think you're missing the point.
Just give her a chance to make her
Please
point.
let her talk. How am I missing this point, Patty?
I think that the person that's overseeing the office is someone that is working with the office and with the supervisors. And I get the feeling that you are on a mission and very aggressive, that you want things changed and done your way without looking at what needs to be fixed and what.
Without looking at what needs to be fixed.
No, without looking.
The people voted for him.
No, but I wish I was.
Shame on
But
you.
wait.
Shame on you.
One of the problems with all of the people talking is nobody's getting up and using the microphone, nobody's announcing themselves.
No.
So all I wanted to
Please,
say
just out of
was,
common courtesy, let Patty finish before you start yelling at her.
So I will
Let
say,
me finish before you start yelling at me.
I will say it is easier on this side if we do take turns, because once you guys start commenting amongst yourself, it is really hard for me to hear Patty or whoever's actually turned to talk. So it just becomes loud and really, really confusing. So were you finished, Patty?
I wanted to say that I think that we need to wait till we have a full board to decide.
So
And in the meantime, there's nothing that says that you can't go in and oversee what's going on and look at the files and look at the right to knows, because you want to be the right to know officer and the police department.
actually, I didn't
and
want to be. Pam
the
encouraged me to, because
So-
I'm very knowledgeable with it. So
So I think that it's not like the office is going to fall apart in the next month until we appoint another supervisor.
So I agree that it'll keep running status quo. I disagree with having no supervision. It's irresponsible of us to not name somebody sitting here to these titles here. I feel they're important, that's why they're on the list. If you say you don't think I understand, you're highly confused, because I very, very well understand the title of overseeing the admin offices.
Fran, how about if you appointed me and the three of us work together, if that gets us past this impasse?
So I respect that thing as conflict resolution. No one's going to appoint me. So again, I move to figure this out, but I want to hear these guys' comments first.
Well, you don't seem to be reading the room. I know there was a lot of Facebook banter. You guys don't like that either. Yep. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make I believe it was the December 22nd meeting. One of the last things I heard at that meeting was that, in your own words, we are stuck with you for 4 more years.
Yeah.
I lost sleep
I
that
can put
night.
it.
Thank you, Mark.
I lost sleep that night.
Okay, at the risk of
I'm sorry, Patty.
being too sarcastic,
This isn't a word for sarcasm.
The
Your professional-
feeling that I got at that meeting was you left the pitch, or not everybody, some people left their torches and pitchforks home and came to the meeting loaded for bear and wanted to say things to us. And that's why I said you're stuck with me for 4 years, because I got the feeling that you wanted us all to just stand up and walk out the door.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that you feel that way, because
Again, just
we
read the
try.
room. These are the most involved citizens in this town,
Yeah.
right here, in front of you.
And on Zoom.
Yep.
And we're trying our best.
All right,
But
thank you.
That's all I
I'm
have
sorry,
to
what
say
was
about
your
that.
name?
My name's Jeff Stevens.
I've been trying to remember it for a
Okay,
while now. Thank you,
I'm
Jeff.
still a relatively new resident up here, although I've been in and out of this area for the last 50 years.
Thank you for coming up.
I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for all their work,
You're welcome.
all of their work. But things have happened lately that have woken up the community. You know, good government, when it represents people, you don't know it's there unless there's a problem and you can go to that good government and they'll respond to the problem. We're a small town. We have a Board of Supervisors that everybody knows everybody's first name. You all have been together for a long, long time. Grant is running a business, and he's running a successful business. And I've run businesses. I've been a vice president in many executive positions. And I know what it takes to have a good staff, to have a responsive staff, to be able to have all of your regulations up to date, to be able to treat your employees correctly and get them to do their job. Grant currently does that every single day. I don't know what your experience is, Patty, I don't. But if you're not out there doing that every single day, you are not up to date. You're just not. And things are changing now. People have woken up and they've said, hey, this isn't right, and we need to change that. Vituperation and nastiness have no place here.
Correct.
None
Thank you.
here.
Thank
You
you.
must be civil to the people who are representing us. Period. You have to be. You can dislike anybody you want. You can hate someone, but you must be able to work with them. And by calling names and by telling people they are stinky rotten or whatever, it's not going to accomplish anything except prove that you're a fool. So please, keep your tongues civil when we're dealing with this, because this is an issue that affects all of us. This is our community. We want to work with these people. And right now, we have elected another person into the board that is aggressive. Yes, Patty, he's aggressive. He wants to get things done. You may say he wants to do it his way, but I see that he wants to do it the right way.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
So this is where this community is coming from right now. Everybody's waking up and saying, hey, we need to have a voice in our government. The voice that we have elected to the board, you are there. But we are also saying to you, it's time to change things up a little bit. It really is. So please reevaluate your position. Because we as citizens are looking at the board and saying, how can we improve this? And things that were working before aren't working now because people have finally decided to take part in the government. Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
those who are. But that's it. That's my statement. I think that Mr. Hilfiger has much more qualifications for this. Yes, we're spreading out more jobs on him, but when you look at the structure, it makes sense in management to have the control or at least a functioning point of focus for all those particular positions because they all interrelate and they all interlock. And again, we're looking for somebody that has the experience, the temperament, and the positive energy to be able to go that. I would be a part of this as much as I can. I'm suffering from health issues. I'm 71. But I will be here as long as I can. I will volunteer when I am capable. And I will be out there in the community.
Thank you.
Because this is what it's supposed to be. We are a small town. That means small town people have to work together. We fell asleep.
Yeah.
We fell asleep. We're awake.
All right.
Fine. Well,
Thank you. I appreciate your comment, Mr.
Thank you.
Stevens. Are we,
There are some
Hands on
Zooms.
third.
There what?
There are some Zoom comments.
okay.
Krista?
Thank you. I wanted to just say that Grant, the way that Grant is handling the restructuring of this, of these positions is exactly what he was mandated to do by the people who voted him in. We had one of the best turnouts in the entire county. Ever since the primary, people have mobilized in the community to support him, and he has a mandate and a responsibility to the voters to do exactly what he promised us he would do, and that's what he's trying to do. I think that the reason why this was historically a position managed by the president is exactly because of what Grant said. This is a position, you need to know all of the things that are happening and not be told by second part. That wouldn't fly in a courtroom, and I don't think it should fly here. That's all just hearsay. He needs to see things firsthand. And I think in these very litigious circumstances, it's very important for him to have all of the facts and not hear things secondhand. And it'll keep our taxpayer money from being wasted and spent on things that could have otherwise been avoided.
Thank you, Krista.
And Christine.
Gerald,
Esposito.
Christine Esposito? I think she has herself muted. Christine, are you muted? Obviously, she can't tell me if she is.
There you go, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Christine.
Just to reiterate what the gentleman before Nicole said, and as well as Nicole, and it's nothing against any one person on the board at all. I have nothing against anybody. But Patty's comment about Grant being aggressive and wanting to do things his way, I'm sorry, but that was wrong. And I have to just say that he's not being aggressive and wanting things his way. He has been out in the community. He has been talking to the public. He has been talking to the voters, the taxpayers. He is taking our concerns and trying to get things done the way the community wants them, not being aggressive for his own benefit. It's for the benefit of our community. I think we all need to just get along and stop making the snide comments or the sarcasm if you're stuck with me. The positions are voted. Everybody that's there was voted on. But no, Grant's not there to be aggressive and get his own way. He's there for the community. So let's show a little respect there.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I apologize if it sounded like I was being flip to people when I said, the question was, how many years do each of you have left on your term? And Daryl was 2, and Pam was 2, and I was 4.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys where we go from here. I'm only one of 4, and I can't do nothing on my own, so.
All right, I'll make a motion that we appoint Grant Hilfiger, the admin officer.
Do we have a second? We have no second?
Are you
They
kidding me?
can't vote.
Right, that's why I said,
Yeah,
a while
so
ago,
Patty
so they
can
have to-
vote, so she's choosing not to second. But
I thought Pam couldn't either.
I said abstain.
Defer.
so I don't know if this goes against everything or if it's self-serving, but I'm going to second it myself. And Todd, you can tell me if I'm wrong. So
No, you can second your motion.
I seconded Daryl's motion. All in favor? Aye. So 2-2. It moves with no action. So.
There's no reason you can't go into the office and see what's going
Patty,
on.
I'm not discussing it anymore. I feel.
Yeah.
Are you allowed?
Huh?
It's my boss.
I don't think she is.
Todd,
So
I can't vote, correct?
Pam, is that you talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I abstained, is that correct?
I mean, I think for the reasons that were given earlier, that this is a position that kind of oversees you, it may very well be best to abstain.
But you have the opportunity to vote.
Is she allowed to vote?
I'm just curious.
Can she?
Don't push it.
You're a
Can she
supervisor
vote?
today.
Well, I mean, I think that the only reason why somebody can't vote would be if there's a conflict And the conflict that would preclude voting is one where there's a monetary benefit. And so if there was some sort of monetary benefit to Pam by voting for that position, then I would say that's a conflict and she would have to refrain from voting. But I don't know that this is, there is that kind of conflict.
Yes, there is. If there's overtime and stuff that Pam would be available to get, that would be overseen by that position, would it not?
I don't think so. I don't think any individual supervisor has the ability to act unilaterally to approve overtime.
That has to go to the board, that's what's in the handbook.
So I think as that description, the whole board oversees the final decision, so I would say, she could make her decision whether she wants to vote or not. All in favor?
Let me just say one other thing, that even when there is a conflict, if the conflict has been disclosed in writing and made note of it has been made in the minutes, if the result of not voting means that there's a tie and board inaction, then you can vote despite the conflict. So here's a situation where there's really a marginal conflict. I'm not sure there is a real technical conflict in the sense that there's a monetary benefit to Pam, but even if there were one, you could still vote if it meant that the board was deadlocked.
Okay, so knowing that, then we vote again?
So I think we have a motion, a second, all in favor after discussion?
Aye.
I'm voting nay.
So,
Grant, you can vote on that as well, right?
yeah, so he made the motion, he seconded, 2 in favor.
So Pam's still abstaining?
She's abstaining, 1 opposed, so
That's telling.
I assume that we make a motion to move with no action then, Todd?
And Jeff,
Yeah,
this
and
is
if
why
there's,
people get
unless
upset.
there's another person who can get a majority of the vote, then this access will have to remain vacant until there's another supervisor or.
I think that's what Daryl was advising, that he goes in with the interim position. So I think I will make that motion. I make a motion that Daryl is in charge of the office until we could reevaluate this, maybe when we appoint another supervisor. So I'll make a motion that Daryl is the liaison with the admin office. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Okay, so
if
now,
I'm allowed to vote at this point.
now she can vote.
Well, or I abstain, either way, it carries.
Are you voting or abstaining, Pam?
I'll abstain as long as it's not, I was only gonna vote to break a tie, but there's not a tie, so.
There was a tie last.
All right, hang on,
I
guys.
voted opposed, and then it's still a tie.
All right, I'm gonna move forward to the next one. I appreciate everybody's input and support. Police department,
I have a question.
yes.
May I have Janine step into my place for now? I have a doctor appointment to go to.
Yeah,
Is she an assistant recording secretary?
I don't know, but I have been waiting to go to a doctor appointment for about 6 months today.
Well, we don't have a choice, somebody has to do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Todd,
I
are we
think so.
allowed to let somebody be a recording officer that wasn't appointed, or do we appoint Janine an assistant?
Well, that's the thing, I don't think we have an assistant currently.
Right, which is another problem with offices that I would like to take care of.
I move that we appoint Janine the assistant
I'll second that.
recording secretary.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to go get Janine and ask her?
And we vote aye.
Aye.
Do we have to recess for this while we're switching, Todd?
Well, I don't know, how long is it gonna take to switch?
5 minutes?
Okay, yeah, I mean, you can recess while this happens.
I make a motion that we recess for 5 minutes to switch a recording officer. Do I have a second?
that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, guys, we're at about the 5-minute mark. I'm gonna make a motion to reconvene the meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved.
Move to appoint Grant Hilfiger as the township representative to the Pocono Mountain Regional Police Department.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll move to make a motion to appoint Pam Gardsey, the liaison with the fire company. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to appoint Daryl Spiker, the liaison of the maintenance department. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I move to make a motion to appoint Pam Gardsey to the High Acres Park Committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
I make a motion to appoint Patty O'Keefe as the Council of Government representative. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moves. Make a motion to appoint Daryl Spiker to the Library Board. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I'll make a motion to appoint Patty and Daryl to the EAC Board. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion moved.
I move that we appoint Grant Hilfiger, the township representative to the Pocono Mountain Regional Ambulance Board.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next is the Architectural Review Committee.
I'll make a motion to appoint Grant Hilfiger as the liaison to the Architectural Review Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to appoint Patty O'Keefe to the Park Board.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. Next up is the appointing of the following solicitors for year 2026. I make a motion to appoint Todd Weitzman at the primary rate of $1,100 a month with a retainer at $205 an hour. I make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I make a motion to appoint Kramer, Swets, McManus, Jordan, Saylor, PC as the alternate solicitor to the supervisors at $260 an hour. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to appoint James Ferrari, zoning hearing board at a rate of $195 an hour. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to appoint Deborah Huffman at the primary rate of $205 an hour for the Planning Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I got to do that one over. Deb and Todd do that together. I thought Todd was the alternate, but I missed it. So I'm going to make a motion to also appoint Todd Weitzman as Planning Commission solicitor at the primary rate of $205 an hour. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the alternate to the Planning Commission, I make a motion that we appoint Kramer, Swets, McManus, Jordan, Saylor, PC as an alternate to the Planning Commission at a rate of $260 an hour.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion that we appoint Kramer, Swets, McManus, Jordan, and Saylor as a zoning officer solicitor at $260 an hour.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion that we appoint Attorney Andrew Wolf, ESQ, Esquire, at $260 an hour as the conflict resolution solicitor.
Second?
He's the one that
Discussion?
Just for
And he's the one
clarification.
who will ask.
Todd, go ahead.
Clarification on that, Grant. When you say conflict resolution, you mean conflict counsel for the supervisors?
I believe it's for the zoning officer. I didn't prepare this paper, but it comes right after zoning. Would it be conflict resolution for zoning, since I assume that's who? Yeah, that's who she refers to.
No, it was just conflict resolution overall because of what happened.
I just wanted to know the name of the person.
Andrew Wolf, and Pam confirmed that it's go ahead.
Andy Wolf is an attorney at Kramer, Swets, McManus, Jordan, and Saylor. So if they're already the zoning officer solicitor, appointing Andy doesn't really cover conflicts because it's the same firm.
Understood.
No, I don't, Grant, I don't think it was for zoning. Todd, I think this happened because of our recent conflict that we didn't have an attorney for, so we thought we'd put it in here for future, just to make sure we had it on
So we're
record.
simply calling it our conflict resolution solicitor, which is that available to all boards, zoning?
You appointed, on the first motion, or the second motion, you appointed Kramer, Swets, McManus as alternate solicitors for the supervisors.
To the planning commission and supervisors.
That person or that firm would serve in the event I had a conflict on a matter.
Correct. So we don't need conflict for supervisors or planning, correct? So we just, is it an open-ended title of conflict resolution?
I don't think it's conflict resolution, it's just conflict counsel. In the event that the primary solicitor has a conflict, you have another attorney or firm that's been appointed to cover giving the township advice because the primary solicitor has a conflict. So,
Do you recommend we appoint that? I'm sorry.
You have it covered already by your motion at the beginning to have Kramer Swets be the alternate solicitor.
So it's already
It's already
covered.
So I think we're gonna scratch that line item,
Yeah.
not appoint anybody, and if we come upon that, we'll do it case by case. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. It doesn't happen very much, and it may very well be that, you want to address it at the time.
Okay, so I'm not making a motion on any of that. I'm going to scratch the conflict counsel, and we'll deal with that as a conflict by conflict thing instead of appointing another solicitor.
I just question.
Yes,
I
Jen.
got a little confused here. So for the zoning officer, conflict attorney, it is Attorney Wolf.
It's Kramer, Swets, McManus, Jordan, and Saylor, and I feel Attorney Wolf works for that
For
firm.
them or Newman? I
So
thought
I'm gonna
that's
be
not-
honest with you, I don't know all the attorneys within that firm. But I think Todd just said Attorney Andrew Wolf does work for Kramer, Swets, McManus,
Okay.
Jordan, Saylor. Am I correct, Todd?
Okay.
So he's already there.
Thank you. So we're scratching the conflict counsel and we're gonna do it as needed. I make a motion that we appoint Jeffrey S. Worthington, UCC Appeal and Property Maintenance Appeal Attorney at $200 an hour. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I'm going to make a motion to establish the following meeting dates, times for the year 2026. I make a motion that the supervisor regular meeting is the second Wednesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. and the fourth Wednesday of each month at 8 a.m. The workshop meeting will be the third Wednesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. The next is the administrative and financial actions. I make a motion to set the tax collector's salary at 4.5% of taxes collected.
A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to set our mileage rate at all mileage reimbursed for 2026 shall be paid at the current IRS rate, and I'm gonna add the IRS business rate. There's a few of them, so I'll make a motion to do the business IRS rate. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion that we use First Keystone Bank as the depository for our general, open space, fire, road machinery, park and recreation, LST, and state funds.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion that we use ESSA Bank for the depository for the library and ambulance fund.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to authorize the administrative and operations director and one other supervisor to sign all checks.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to set policy that all bills shall be paid after approval at a public meeting except certain reoccurring payments such as contracts, payroll, discount bills, insurance, and interest payments.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to authorize the treasurer to issue a check in case of an item of immediate need to be secured by cash.
Second.
Discussion, what instance would that be?
I've never had that happen.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to authorize the treasurer to spend up to $1,500 per month with approval of one other supervisor.
For what?
Do I have a second?
For what? Not petty cash?
So I think that would be, I'll let you explain, Pam.
Again, this really hasn't happened. This would be if there's an emergency that we have to issue a check and one other supervisor has to approve it before the check is cut.
So I got to think like an emergency in the building, a urinal explodes, we need to write a check, you know? That's my understanding of it. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but the treasurer, you know, is in this building, so.
Yeah.
My second.
Discussion, which I feel we had. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion of recommended setting the treasurer's bond at $1 million.
Second.
Discussion?
I actually have some info, and I know, Grant, you brought this up before. The treasurer's bond should be set to, I don't know if this is on, to equate to all of the cash that we have on hand. At one point of the year, when all of our tax money comes in, the highest was at 1.3 million, and then the lowest was 0.5 million, so we may want to adjust that up a little bit.
So definitely if we had 1.3 million on hand and we're projected to ever do that again, we definitely have to up that. So I appreciate you looking into that. So I am going to redo the motion and make a motion that we recommend setting the treasurer's bond $1,300,000.
300,000.
Yeah, 300,000. 1,300,000 and the rest zeros.
Should we make it 1.5 if we got to 1.3?
I don't project that we're gonna go over the 1.3, do you, Pam?
I
Okay.
don't.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
just curious.
yeah, I think we pay for them on the amount, so I just think
We
that'll
do.
protect us and won't overspend. So do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the maintenance superintendent to spend up to $2,500 per month for emergency parts and supplies with the approval of one other supervisor.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. The next up is wages. This will set the following hourly rates for the maintenance department office, be approved for up to 2,080 hours. So I'm gonna make a motion that we set the following hourly rates for the maintenance department and office be approved for up to 2,080 hours per year. I don't know if that has to be a motion itself or I do each individually, but I'm gonna make that a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Grant, you just might wanna just, for the minutes, list the rates. You can do them as a lump sum.
I'm definitely gonna do the rates, and I thought about just doing them each individual item, because I feel the hours, could be a motion as the hours, and then each individual job description could have its own motion with rates.
Okay, that's fine too.
Okay, I don't wanna drag it out, but I wanna be thorough. So I'm making a motion. Do you guys remember the motion? Or do you want
Yeah,
me to
the
repeat it?
motion was to set 2,080 hours.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I want to make a motion to set the maintenance superintendent's hourly rate at $27.30 per hour.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion moved. I move to make a motion that the assistant maintenance superintendent hourly rate be $27.30 per hour.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to set the equipment operator with CDL hired before 6 of 2017 at $26.02 per hour.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to set the equipment operator with CDL hired after 6 of 27 at $23.88 per hour.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I move to make a motion for part-time maintenance labor at $22.44 per hour.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I move to make a motion of facilities maintenance at $25.46 per hour.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion to set the park and facility maintenance hourly wage at $16.48 per hour.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. So this next item was just put in there from our original template, so it says appoint full-time parks facility maintenance person, so we're appointing a new position?
No, we're changing, that position was part-time when first hired.
Okay.
And we're changing that to full-time. Given the additional tenants in the building, additional events, additional workload on the facilities personnel.
Okay. I make a motion to appoint full-time parks facilities maintenance position.
I'll second.
Discussion? My discussion was that a thing that needed to be approved at a regular meeting, or can it be approved here, or was it already discussed and approved and is happening?
It was discussed in executive session at budget time, and it's being approved at this meeting.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion moved. I make a motion to set the hourly rate of $19.57 for administrative assistant.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, I drug that out. I just thought it would be more thorough. I move to make a motion to establish that overtime for the township employees will be paid at time and 1/2 of the hourly rate after 40 hours. Have actually been worked in accordance with the Fair Labor Standard Acts.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion that we establish that paydays shall be on a bi-weekly schedule with each pay period ending on a Tuesday and paychecks being distributed the next day. The first pay period shall end Tuesday, January 6, 2026.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion that advances in pay may be made by motion of the Board of Supervisors in the event of an emergency.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion moved. I make a motion that we authorize the administrative offices in accordance with the Municipal Records Manual to dispose of the following public records: bank statements and vouchers from 2017.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion moved. Public comment. Thank you, Mrs. Williams.
Hi.
Hello.
Two quick things, Judy Stevens. First off, the building code enforcement officer that retired or gave your notice the end of December, was this a surprise to y'all, or did you know it was coming?
He submitted the letter a few months ago. I don't know the exact date, so it wasn't a surprise.
Okay, so everybody knew for months and months and months, and now it's January and people have pending things, and now they have to wait. And
So I don't think we have any pending permits, actually.
well, they just said they were gonna put one in, so now they know they have to wait 30
he was
days.
I think he
Making it
was being
hypothetical.
hypothetical, and the permit review process does give 30 days for a township to submit a permit after applicant. And personally, I fully intend to fulfill those obligations. I will say there's not a lot of people banging down our door for it. We had 3 people submit, 2 people revoked, 1 put back in, so it's been a process, but I don't intend to fail our,
Okay, because that's kind of scary.
no, understandable.
Okay.
We thought we had somebody and then they backed
That's all
out.
I wanted to know.
Thank you, I appreciate
So moving
that.
forward, it's a new year. Okay, secondly, I think we need to get some pizza gift cards for a teenager with a video setup, because they certainly have, it heads and shoulders about, I cannot believe that you are inviting people to the meetings, saying come on Zoom, we can't see their responses, they can't talk, and this is unacceptable.
So I will say,
And-
Mrs.
and-
Oops, I'm sorry.
So we are responding, everything is all over Facebook, they're saying, we want people to come to the meetings. When we come to the meetings, not all of our ideas are acceptable because people want to do it the old way, and there's a lot of back and forth. And join us on Zoom, and no one can see, nor we can hear or see what they're saying. It can't be.
So I will say that we are in the process. We've reached out to the guy who installed this system and expressed our complaints. And it was also I sent multiple ideas in the past month to the board, and it's definitely on our radar that we do have to do better. The one thing that I can say, it's a work in progress. This is a newer system, and I did log in on the December 18th meeting, and I realized how terrible it was. So
But
I
that's
do
December
encourage you
18th.
guys.
I could do Facebook Live, and then people could join me instead of us texting.
Yeah, definitely. You're
So I'm
welcome.
just saying that.
In a public meeting, you can definitely do that, but I do want to say that we are looking into upgrading this system, and keeping it on our agenda and a hot topic, so I appreciate
Maybe
it.
even as a stopgap, you have something so that these people that can't come out, like my 91-year-old mother,
Yeah.
because they want to be a part of it, because that's appalling.
Thank you, I appreciate
We'd
that.
rather have her mom here in person.
What changed? Because you
We'd
used to
rather
be
have-
able to
Yes,
comment
I'd rather be.
in the chat on Zoom,
Mhm.
and the last meeting that was taken away.
So I'm gonna step back and let, maybe you guys field that, because I don't know what changed. This is my first rodeo, so.
Right on. But I know you experienced the same thing.
Yeah, I did. On the 18th, I tried to type a comment and I couldn't. So what changed to being able to type a comment on Zoom and between then and now?
Well, this morning was the first I heard of it, but I didn't know. I didn't know you could disable the chat, the
So-
type chat. I just,
So just if anyone wants a piece of advice on Zoom, there are different features on Zoom. I had a group, there's a button they could click when you start recording. It'll do an AI summary. So it'll take the place of anything some human hand is missing. Instead of saying we had a lengthy conversation, it'll include everything. Carol actually found that option.
She's a genius.
And Carol is the tech advisor to
So I
my
have
group on
seen
that.
it pop up that AI meetings had been
If-
taken in the past.
If you click that, all
Okay.
it does is it adds an additional recording that comes out in a transcript.
Mhm.
And it will give all that information and that can be produced. As for the chat, it's a simple click.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was purposely not clicked. It's a Zoom meeting. There's tutorials all online.
So I definitely have full intentions of presenting some training on Zoom and cross-training, so we have multiple employees that are allowed to do that. So I appreciate you guys' comments on that. Thank you.
Hi, me again, Jeff Stevens.
Hey, Jeff.
One of the big issues that we had been attended to is Carol Price and this discrepancy between rental properties and licensed rental properties. Where are we on that?
So I, again, in the past 30 days have made a ton of recommendations, and I can only speak on myself. We haven't made decisions on it. But I know, me personally, I have goals to acknowledge all advertised short-term rentals, get them registered or in violation if they're not willing to get into it. So we do have an ordinance that outlines it. So I would like to move forward and make it a goal of Q1 to get short-term rentals under control. But again, I presented it to these guys. I haven't heard their ideas yet, but that's my ideas and goals.
And just so everyone on the board understands, this is an issue that affects the entire community. Because we're not getting the income from these places, they are degrading the neighborhoods. And if something doesn't happen really soon, to be able to correct this. Now, being part of a small community, I'm hoping that the flexibility of the board could say to somebody like Carol Price, who's been a member of this community forever, to say, okay, Carol, we're gonna issue a temporary approval because we know that you take care of your properties. And when the guy comes back to do the official inspection, then we'll issue you. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for a response from the board to take care of problems like this that come up. And so far, what we've seen is nothing. So this is where we're looking. This is, these are issues that were brought up, and Carol has to come to these meetings and say stuff when places are not appropriate because nobody's been listening to her.
Understood.
And she has a legitimate bitch. She has a very legitimate complaint, and if it's not taken care of soon, then we gotta wonder, what are you doing?
Great point.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
please understand that as far as the community is concerned, we're looking to see action on these things. And we know that this is a new discussion, lots of new interest, lots of conflicting things. We understand that, we're willing to work, but we wanna see something happening, whether or not it's internal or external, we need to know. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Jeff.
We're losing money by not recognizing all of it. The town has showed me it.
and we do recognize that. I mean, no, that's what I mean, that there are people that are coming to us and letting us know that there are unregistered short-term rentals in their neighborhoods, and we're following up on that, or at least Nicole is following up on that. She's trying to stay on top of it, but it's a bigger problem than we understood.
But
to begin with.
Is that is Nicole the building, she's not the?
No, she's the zoning
She's a zoning
officer.
officer.
So the zoning officer is who handles all of that?
Right,
It's a zoning ordinance.
right, and the,
Needs help.
yeah, and from what I understand, okay, the Barrett Economic Development Corporation has got a community committee together. Part of what they're doing is to look into this short-term rental
So-
issue.
I'm gonna correct you there. I think it's Barrett Township Concerned Citizens. It's not the Barrett Economic
Nothing.
Development
Okay.
Corporation.
Nothing at all.
It's a separate
Okay,
one.
okay, I stand corrected. But, right, there are people.
And raise your hand, Mike.
Yeah, and Krista was in there first to raise her hand.
Okay, sorry, James.
Sorry, it's fine.
So go ahead,
She's
Krista.
been waiting.
Do you have her muted or does she have herself
I- she-
muted?
she-
Sorry guys, we're so far past my comment at this point. I'll let Michael go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, just to follow up on the point that was made, so the Barrett Economic Development Corporation has two citizen groups, one called the Community Advisory Board, one called the Business Advisory Board. It totals 21 full-time Barrett and part-time Barrett residents. Some members of those two boards are working on the short-term rental issue, and the Economic Development Corporation as an organization obviously supports the work of those members and is supportive of those efforts, though we as a nonprofit are not actively pursuing it ourselves, but we're supporting those members through their own separate committee, which Grant Hilfiger just referenced. Just want to clarify that.
Thank you, Michael.
But we agree it's an incredibly important issue and overall is part of economic vitality and stability for the community.
Thank you, Michael.
And it's my understanding that we have a realtor that's been working with Nicole to identify some of these short-term rental properties so that we can go forward with this.
It's a group of 6, well, actually, it's a group of 10 people that are working with Nicole. It's not just one realtor.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Carl.
Well, I knew.
James Cowan. I have a question about the roof here, okay? This building was built in 1989, and I have a friend that works at Pocono Mountain School District in the administration office. And I asked them if they could find anything about this roof ever being replaced since 1989. They said they can't find anything of where it was replaced. And I was just curious why they would put the solar panel on a 46-year-old roof.
It was not replaced when
Yeah,
we
it's never
first.
been replaced.
Right. When we first moved in here, we did have a roofing company come in and do an evaluation, as well as the gentleman that did the feasibility study for this building gave recommendations for repairs for that roof. We also had a structural engineer do a report before the solar panels were placed.
But basically, they never replaced a roof in 46 years.
They have not replaced the roof.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I just want to, getting back to that point, I would go back to Pocono Mountain School District because I'm pretty sure the last thing they did to this building for maintenance was put a new roof on. I would double check that because remember when there was a $20 million, they wanted to build a $20 million renovation of this building. And they were going to add a standalone gym. So there was a standalone gym and a standalone, to make it like Pocono Elementary. There would be a standalone gym, there would be a standalone cafeteria. The gym would be 2 stories high, tall, there would be classrooms upstairs in that gym. And the only thing they funded was a new roof for this building. And then the Great Recession hit, 1908. 2 years later, they have the property up for
2008?
Yeah, 2008 was the recession. So I would go back to the school district and look specifically around 2006, 2007, because they wanted to raise taxes to put, because of the population growth after 9/11 through the 2000s, they were going to do a $20 million renovation on this building.
Thank God they did.
And Well, yeah, because then after the Great Recession, population crashed. Barrett Township lost its elementary school because they built that brand new school in Swiftwater, and so they started busing. I couldn't imagine being a kindergartner and have to get on a bus up on Lake Road and go all the way to Swiftwater. But anyway, we digress.
Thank you, Ms.
Quick
Stevens.
question, so for these short-term rental things that we've had all these meetings for and everybody's talking about it, can you answer the question, what are the boots on the ground right now? So even if we didn't have the Warrior 10 people, the group that has established itself and have printed out the hundreds of short-term rentals, so it's not just a couple people are working on it and we know it's a problem. This is a force to be reckoned with. So when they present to you and say, these are all of the rentals we need, is there a full-time person, one person with an assistant, I don't know, who is going out there and doing all this? When they are given that list that these warriors have pulled together, what kind of manpower do we have to deal with it?
So I can only speak from today forward, since today's my first day, but I have been involved with that committee, and I've written some pretty good procedures that I want to present to the board in a public meeting on action items.
We're talking about the salary dollars, what bodies are responsible.
So fortunately, it's the zoning officer. They wear many different hats. So we as a board and whoever is in charge of the office, I'd like to see them kind of put time restrictions on each category. But I definitely think short-term rentals need a focus in the near future to get them under compliance or in violation in Q1, and then also our ordinance needs updated. There's some faults in it.
Right, well, I know that, so I'm still
So
just talking
I
about
will
from
say-
a lawyer standpoint, do we have one full-time person that is doing other things? It's a part-time person.
It's not a part-time person. It is a full-time person that does zoning, meeting minutes. What's her other position? Assistant secretary?
Assistant right to know.
Assistant right to know, but her other job title is that Janine's job title?
So the reality is that all of this work can be done, but then you have a person that can do a part-time hours to go out to these, maybe, I don't know, maybe we should be spending.
Well, we have a zoning officer.
Right, I
And
understand.
it's a zoning issue, and so it's her job to go out in the field.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm talking that now there is a concerted effort to give you a volume of information that we know is coming, and then it's gonna go to a person that already has 10 other jobs. How is that backlog going to be addressed
So
without saying?
you're suggesting we hire somebody else just for short-term rentals?
Yeah, great, thanks.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Same thing,
Hey.
except I'm wondering what the hell did the building code enforcement officer do to get to this point?
So-
How did we arrive here?
That's what
Because we're paying somebody to supposedly monitor and give information, and yet none of that information occurred until Carla and other people decided, hey, we've gotta get this to the board.
Understood.
So, the frustration is that if we don't have somebody that's full-time and dealing with that, and the issue is well-known, and it's been well-known for months, it's not new, then, again, where are the boots on the ground?
Yeah.
Who is enforcing it, and how are we enforcing it? What power do we have to either shut these places down, because that's probably the most effective thing we can do,
Understood.
and collect fines from them? Because really, if we're not concentrating on this, we're, number one, we're missing a major point of revenue. Number two, we're letting lawlessness happen while other people in the community who are concerned are adhering to all the administrative things that they have to do. So we are looking, and we're looking for some sort of action within a very reasonable time frame. And again, if we don't have somebody who's concentrating on it, because I don't know what the hell the building inspector did.
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out.
So I'm gonna correct you. It's a zoning officer, and the building inspector does the inspections, but it's a small part of it. So I'm not gonna speak for what they have done or how they failed to keep up with it, because I wasn't privy to the information. But I will tell you, I don't sleep much, and I feverishly worked with ideas that I've shared with the board, and I'm excited to hopefully gain their support to make some changes and some procedures to hopefully get us caught up. I don't know if you guys have other ideas that you want to share, but that's my ideas moving forward. And I'm a workaholic, so I plan on rolling my sleeves up. And if they give me a fob to the front door, I plan on jumping in and helping where I can.
Thank you very much.
Jeff,
Really,
just so you
for the whole
know,
board, we know.
just so you know, when I approached Grant with our idea, we've been on the phone probably 60 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Short-term rental. He's very open to ideas, and he goes right for it. He answers my questions.
Yes.
That's what we hope.
And I have shared those with the rest of the board. So I know Krista's on hold, but I know Peter's had his hand up like a few times. So go ahead, Peter.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I just had a couple of, while it's fresh with short-term rentals, I mean, I think it would be a good idea to have a short-term rental advisory board to the township, which maybe a couple of those.
I also suggested that.
That's one of the things.
Could be on it, and it is an important subject. There is a lot of revenue being lost that could probably pay for an assistant.
Correct.
There, and you could even sub out the inspection part of that right now. I have a short-term rental in Middle Smithfield and Stroud Township also, and they have companies that come out and do the inspection.
Correct.
So if you're getting, $150 for the inspection and they're charging you $100, you could make $50 and you're getting it done much quicker and get that part of it done. And I think they have a lot of, especially when it comes to once you start cracking down and you start putting enforcement in place, those STR owners are going to be sitting in this front complaining, and that advisory board would be key to be able to. Not all of you understand short-term rentals if you don't have them, but a lot of these people have them, and they can give you the advice on how to get past that, or how to deal with that short-term rental.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I also presented an idea of an advisory board and how the breakdown of that looks, and to essentially mirror like a planning commission. So, guys, it's not just my idea, so I'm glad he got up and said it.
On the building zone, on the building code enforcement, is that something else is there companies that can sub that out until we get someone in place, just so we don't rush that position? I know you're working on it. I know it's been tough to get people, but we don't rush it. Okay, now this is the only guy we got. Let's go and hire him. And we do the wrong thing.
That's what we've been looking at, companies that do that in different townships.
Until you can get a permanent person in position.
Yeah, I think.
You can use that company until you get a permanent.
I think it's hard to get a company interested, period, let alone, permanent. So we have interviewed, Pam sent one over this morning. I sent two back. Like, we're actively, so it used to be you'd put something out and you'd have people knocking down your doors to work. It's kind of the opposite. We don't have a lot of people knocking down our doors, so we're kind of on recruiting, just calling and saying, hey, have you seen our ad? Do you realize that, we need a building code officer? So I've been doing that, leaving messages, but through the holiday, I didn't get much replies.
Two quick clarification points. The additional assistant for the maintenance, I believe, in this building, was that in the 2026 budget item?
It's somebody that's part-time going full-time, and it was included in the budget.
Yes.
And your overtime, the overtime policy, do you need prior approval for overtime? Who approves that overtime?
So I don't know if prior approval is needed for the maintenance guys, because clearly if it snows, that's going to be overtime.
Yeah, I think that's the maintenance department oversees that, and in this building.
I didn't know if in your policy book there, overall, if the operations manager, administrative assistant, or
that would be approved by the administrative liaison, right?
Yeah, I believe it does have to be approved for, call it events, and just on top of their normal 40. I don't know where it is in here, but I did see wording of that. I don't know if you want me to take the time and read it or get back to you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we bouncing back to this in the interim? Is there one person waiting?
Krista is waiting.
Okay, Krista?
I just wanted to point out that Nicole does a lot of other jobs other than just the job she was hired for. Hold on, baby. And maybe it would be cheaper to cover some of those. Come here, Hazel. Sorry, guys. Cover some of those other positions and let her do her core functions. So I know she spends a lot of time on right to know requests. which I think a lot of the right-to-know requests don't even need to be right-to-know requests. That should be a simple ask and receive in our township. But it would certainly be cheaper to hire somebody administratively on a part-time basis to handle right-to-knows than to hire another person to do inspections. I know that we rely on the money that we receive from all of those fees pretty heavily as a township, so I wouldn't want to see that money spent on somebody who's a specialty position. That would cost a lot more than an admin position. And I gotta jump off, so thanks.
Thanks,
everybody.
Krista.
Great meeting.
Thank you.
Brandon, if I may just interrupt, or just let you know, I have to go to a commissioners meeting, county now, and so if there's anything that you'd like me to weigh in on, I think we're just at comment.
Yeah, I think we're good, Todd. If it comes to something, do you want us to just call or follow up?
Yeah, you can call or we can defer until you have a chance to consult with me.
Yeah, I feel confident at this point that we're okay. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Great, all right, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Take
Todd.
care.
Ralph?
I just have one question. It was brought to my attention that the office out front that's there is open 8 hours a day. Except some people work 4/10s, and I'm not understanding how, and I'm Spanish, I know it works 4/10s. How do we get somebody working 4/10s when that building's only open 8 hours a day?
You're talking about it's open 5/8 and we have somebody working 4/10s. Was that your question?
Yeah, where's
Okay.
the other 2 hours a day coming from to make the 4/10s?
I work from 7 to 5. And it's very beneficial because there's a lot I could get done before the office is open and after it's closed.
Okay, that's just, because
No,
it was
it's
brought
fine.
up multiple times, and I'm like, I have no idea how that works.
So
I
when it was,
appreciate
when
you
it was,
asking.
when it started,
What-
Gerald was working 4/10s, I was working 4/10s, but they were alternating, so the office could be open all of those hours.
So if you're here at those, I know you're here and nobody, if they're not coming in, you get more done. If you don't have to answer questions and answer the phone. But if we have somebody that's working 4/10s, why wouldn't we have the door open then? If somebody wants to come in. We have people in the town that leave for work early. 7 o'clock may be very beneficial if they could come here and answer a question or drop off or do something. As opposed to opening at 9 when most people are at work already.
They're open at 8, actually.
Or 8 or whatever.
Or 1 day a week.
Yeah, no, just a question, so just food for thought.
Something to think about. I appreciate that, Ralph. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark?
In regard to the vacant seat right there,
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, we would like to thank you for all of your service. It is not the fact that she had to step down for scandal or treasonous reasons or anything. So in essence, a promotion or whatever, on to newer, better things. But I believe she was elected on the Republican ticket. With that said, I feel the board should be doing its due diligence, as I know it is not the law that you need to, but it would behoove us all to put a Republican back in that seat.
Thank you.
Personally, Ralph Magley would be well suited right there.
So I think I have posted the 11 letters that we have received, and I'm going to encourage that we get them on our website. But what I really highly encourage is everybody to pick up the phone, come to a meeting, send an email with who you support. So I appreciate you supporting Ralph. I'm a firm believer that we serve the town and we should listen to the town. A perfect example of that was I wrote a letter. My support was ignored and the voters spoke. So I do appreciate you saying that, and I would like to encourage the board to listen to the townspeople and please interview the 11 prospective members. So, thank you, Mark.
Quick question on that, Grant.
Yes.
As being one of those prospective people who put a letter in,
Mm-hmm.
I have two phone calls. One from you, and Patty called me last week after I posted on Facebook.
Correct.
And no one has contacted me. I'm very curious to know if you contacted the other applicants.
So I'll.
Or if you've asked the ideas of what these applicants are, or if there's any procedure coming forward.
Mm-hmm.
to speak with us and talk to us
So
that way.
I'm going to answer on my behalf and my behalf only. So I don't think there is a formal procedure for it. In the past, it's been kind of all over the map to somebody just being appointed, May LaBar, when I resigned, to I think the last time they asked for letters. I will say, and I can only speak for myself, I have talked to every single applicant, some up to 3-hour meeting right here, some a 2-hour meeting. I probably logged over 15 hours talking to the prospective applicants, and I've talked to every single one of them. So if you guys want to answer Ralph's question, if you would like it.
I've only spoken to a couple.
Do you intend to speak to the rest?
Yes.
Okay. Patty?
I've spoken to a couple. I think what I had envisioned was, once we got all of the applications in, and I think the deadline was the end of December, then we would look and try to schedule time to meet with people, like filling a job in a business. You know, you want to look at all your applicants and
So
then
you've talked to
meet
two,
with
how
them.
many have you spoken with, Pam?
I've spoken to several, and several I've known from working with them, but again, the deadline was the 30th, so I intend on setting up meetings for the ones that I don't know.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Mrs. Stevens?
I was unaware until he said it. I was under the impression that this was a bipartisan. I didn't vote for a ticket.
Mhm.
Actually, I crossed party lines.
Thank you.
As you know.
Thank you.
I don't believe that politics have any place at this level whatsoever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna make a statement, this is gonna sound a little funny, but at the point we have in our township right now, and the problems that we are facing
Mhm.
as a township and a board, and with the data centers and all these things, I think it behooves the township to seriously look at somebody that has sat on that board and has experience with the government, as opposed to bringing someone in, and I have nothing against people that have not stood there. I appreciate them stepping up and willing to serve. But the learning curve, as you know, and everyone on that board knows, is a while. You don't sit up there and get appointed to a position on that board and instantly know how government in a township works.
Mhm.
You don't know how the state works, you don't know all the ins and outs. So looking at somebody that has been there, and there are more than just myself that are on that list that have been a supervisor before, is a big benefit to this town. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you. And I will mention the other one with experience that submitted a letter is Billy Pipolo. So, any other public comment?
When are you choosing?
I don't think we have a set date. My plan is to take all the time we need to do it correctly within our 45-day guideline that's mandated by us by the second-class township code. Any other public comments? I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. I appreciate every comment and person here and
Yeah,
on
Happy
Zoom.
New Year. It's been snowing the whole time, so I hope you don't have to shovel out.